Hello, good evening. It's a wet evening in Accra, and this is News at 10 on TV3 and 3FM 92.7. Remember, we're streaming live on facebook.com/News on TV3. Let's start with the major news highlights for the day. A special task force has been deployed to Nkonya and Alavanyo following the death of two persons in resurged violence in the area on Wednesday. Two others sustained gunshot wounds. And inmates at the Dansoman police cells use urine and sachet water to flush toilets due to frequent water shortage. The toilet facility in the cell is also in a deplorable state as water collects in the entire washroom all year round. Meanwhile, the Divisional Police Commander ACP Atimbila and human rights lawyers have spoken out against the inhumane treatment meted out to suspects in police cells. And the Public Utilities Workers Union says it does not support any nationwide demonstration on the ECG concession agreement. Its General Secretary Michael Edumata Nyantechi explains government has now begun dialoguing with them. President Akufo-Addo has indicated that the processes leading up to the creation of the Ahafo region would be completed within 18 months. The president made the revelation when he visited Achirensua Senior High School in the Bono Ahafo region as part of his two-day tour of the region. And President Akufo-Addo has ordered all ministries and agencies to register with the Data Protection Commission in accordance with the Data Protection Act to serve as an example. In a speech read on his behalf by the Minister of Environment, Science and Technology and Innovation, Professor Frimpong Boateng, the President urged the Commission to work without fear nor favor. You're watching News at 10. We're live on TV3, and also you're listening to us on 3FM 92.7 as well as on our affiliates across the country. If you are tuning to us, you can get us live on the TuneIn app on your mobile phone. Up next is the big one. Welcome back. Now, a special task force has been deployed to the Nkonya Alavanyo townships following the death of two persons in resurged violence in the area on Wednesday. Two others sustained gunshot wounds, and the renewed violence occurred barely hours after a curfew imposed on the area was reviewed on Wednesday by the Interior Minister. Alavanyo and Nkonya have been under a dusk to dawn curfew over a protracted land dispute spanning almost a century. Meanwhile, an emergency meeting of the Security Council in Nkonya was held this morning with the military to help maintain law and order. So, we're joined on Skype by the Executive Director for the Africa Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism, Emmanuel Kuting, is joining us on Skype. Mr. Kuting, we're happy that you could join us. So the events in Alavanyo and Nkonya, it didn't start today. Now, after RECSEC's meeting this afternoon, the security agencies have decided to increase police visibility in the area. I'm emphasizing on police visibility. Is police visibility what is needed to curb the violence in Nkonya and Alavanyo?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your cherished viewers, and thanks for having me again. I think police visibility by its nature is just in the interim to maintain law and order, but it is not the way forward in resolving the protracted conflict in Nkonya. If you look at the Nkonya conflict, it is almost getting to 100 years, a century-old conflict. But it disheartens some of us as a country what lessons we are drawing from some of these protracted conflicts. And every now and then, we are seeing the ascendancy of new ones coming up. So I think that as a country, we have failed. And the boast ends with the government. But more often than not, you see, when government gets involved in it, it stands accused of political victimization and those kind of things. But I think government can set the enabling condition to alleviate the human suffrage that our people go through.
But Mr. Kuti, for 90 years, the people of Alavanyo and Nkonya have been at each other's necks over government wanting to claim the land, which we're told that is the cause of the dispute. Now, the same government, you're saying, should set enabling environment. What should government be doing to set this enabling environment? Some will say perhaps devolve its interest in lands in the Alavanyo and Nkonya area to allow the people to control their own lands.
You see, land dispute has a linkage with chieftaincy. And I think chieftaincy as an institution, government should have created the enabling environment to make it more proactive and responsive to the needs of our time. You see, these issues, like I always say, the solution will lie within the people themselves. And the indigenes of Alavanyo and Nkonya stand accused of not standing up to their duties and responsibility. Because if you look at what is happening in Nkonya or elsewhere, and it's sad to say, any area that is ravaged by conflict is starved of development. Because without peace and tranquility, development cannot take place. And you can imagine a protracted conflict that is almost a century old. It means that our school children will not get that enabling environment to be able to sit in the classroom. So what legacy are we leaving for our children? That is one angle of it. But I think the other way around, a tripartite committee could be put in place with prominent indigenes of Nkonya and Alavanyo leading it.
And has this not been done already? Has this not been done already?
Well, it has been done in the past, but it has always been the talk shop as always. We wait for something to happen and we react to them. We are not being proactive to the needs of the conditions that give rise to some of these things. You understand? I think the only committee that did so well was the one I mentioned earlier in the midday news, the one set up by His Majesty Otumfo or Setutu. I think that committee really did a fantastic job. But as usual, they didn't have that pardon to sort of see it through, because I think they removed their legs from the paddle, obviously because there was change of government and a lot of undercurrents were passing within, if you understand what I mean. So the problem here is that we always talk about these issues. We put committees in place, they do halfway jobs, and we don't follow it through. So you see the Otumfo, if you look at the terms of reference, one of it was to see whether it will bring lasting solutions if government was to step in and claim the disputed land.
Right.
And I think to some extent, when consultations were going on, both sides of the conflict or both sides of the warring faction came to the realization that, look, if we cannot agree within ourselves over this parcel of land, then it's good government comes in and take it. But my brother, like I mentioned, would that really solve the problem? If you ask me, I will say no, because the conditions that give rise to some of these conflicts will still persist. Land is just being used as an object to fund it, but there are more to it.
Right.
And I think it has to do with chieftaincy. If you look at it in a larger domain.
Right.
But my brother, look at Ghana. Will the next generation forgive us? We have conflicts coming up every now and then everywhere, yet we don't draw any lessons from it. And I think that it is high time we as Ghanaians, we bow our head in shame. I'm not even talking about the Nkonya and the Alavanyo in particular, because there are such conflicts everywhere within the country. And it is even in the government interest, especially the one district, one factory policy they are bringing. If you are going to make sure that this policy really benefit the people, then there must be peace and tranquility in this area.
Right. Mr. Kuting, Mr. Emmanuel Kuting, we're grateful for your time. We're running out of time. We're grateful. Thank you very much. Emmanuel Kuting joined us there with his views. Let's move away from the Alavanyo and Nkonya crisis. First Lady Rebecca Akufo-Addo has tasked Queen mothers and opinion leaders to caution young girls against working abroad as domestic helpers. Speaking at the opening ceremony of the 23rd District 18 Zonta International Conference in Accra, the First Lady also condemned sex trafficking and challenged churches to provide lasting solutions.
Zonta International is a leading global organization of professionals empowering women worldwide through service and advocacy, with nearly 30,000 members in 1,200 Zonta clubs. In 66 countries, Zonta has funded programs that are the catalyst for greater understanding and service to women throughout the world. In Africa, Accra became the first Zonta club in 1970, now District 18, in the 9 African countries. This year's conference, which is the 23rd in District 18, will afford Zonta members to come together and make important decisions relevant to the advancement of women and children.
The ascendancy of teenage pregnancy does not augur well for the future of our youth. As agents of change, we need to make our voices heard and influence global opinions and attitudes about women's issues.
President-elect of Zonta International, Susan von Baswood, appreciated the work of Zonta over the years, despite some few challenges.
What also counts is our encouragement, our taking care and caring for the women we want to see reaching their full potential.
First Lady Rebecca Akufo-Addo lauded Zonta for the efforts in improving the lives of women and children, but regretted reports of death of infants in major health facilities is worrying. The First Lady was particularly worried about the rate at which young girls are lured abroad to work, asking Queen mothers and opinion leaders to take charge.
Our young girls are taken to the Middle East as domestic helpers and are often abused and deprived of their earned wages. We need to address this in our communities. Queen mothers, opinion leaders, parents, and clubs like Zonta can initiate the conversation in our communities to caution our young girls against being lured to these places.
The conference is expected to end on April 23.
And in a related development, the Second Lady Samira Bawumia has called on law enforcement agencies to prosecute perpetrators of child trafficking and forced labor in the country. The Whiteford Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, said it is not enough to sensitize the citizens about the issue when the perpetrators are not prosecuted when apprehended. Let's quickly get onto the telephone lines and speak with Jones also, who is the president of the Siwa Foundation of Ghana. Jones also, good evening and thank you very much for joining us. So you have done a lot of work in this area and you have heard the calls by the First Lady and Second Lady. How bad is the transnational human trafficking situation in Ghana?
Well, thank you. Let me greet your listeners. And transnational human trafficking in Ghana has It's a major challenge in Ghana here right now, and I think these things, and we need to do something about it. For example, yesterday I myself, National Security and the Airport Post Police arrested about 3 perpetrators, taking about 23 young girls to Saudi Arabia. We fought for this matter, and they have stopped Kuwait visa 20, and now they have turned into Saudi Arabia. And when we talk about the challenges in Ghana here, my brother, you can go to Airport Police Post right now. There is a girl over there. She has been injected from the Kuwait, and she is mad now. So these are the major challenges that our young girls are facing over there.
So, Mr. Ozia, well, let's look at the girls who are traveling. I've got some friends who have traveled to Saudi Arabia, not because they were forced, but because they were looking for jobs here in Ghana, in their own country, and they were not getting. And for the sake of wanting to go abroad to improve their lives, they jump on board any groups which are taking girls to Saudi Arabia and the Emirates and other places. So these girls who are traveling, are you able to tell me what they go through when they get there, which makes it difficult for you, for example, to recommend that they keep going?
Well, that is the one factor. The job in this country has become something. That's the reason why our young girls...
Well, let's face it. I mean, it's not the job has become something. I mean, there are no jobs. And many young girls finish school. I mean, I know somebody who graduated from university and she's been home for almost 6 years, no job. So I want to know what the girls go through when they get there.
That's one major problem in this country. And I believe in this. As the new government is saying, they are going to create more jobs. I believe it will reduce this money that is going on in this country. So that is the fact. And one thing that I have seen in this government is I think they are making a great effort against this.
We understand that. But, Mr. I wanted us to focus on what you know, the specifics you know about what the girls go through, what they suffer when they get there. I mean, I know a lot of people say quite a number of things, but your group might be able to tell us the actual facts of what they endure
in fact,
when they
get there. What we saw over there is this. Kuwait, for example, have classes of visas. They have visa 20 mainly for maid servants, which the government provided for each citizen every year, about 5, for them to go out there to look for people to come and serve them. So these are the things that they used to give it to the perpetrators to come and pick these people out in Ghana here to the Gulf region. My brother, as soon as they get there, you know, the reason why it turns as a human trafficking is they sell them to some individuals to go and sell them in their various houses. And at the moment they go to the airport, you see them, you see somebody will come and pick all these people to a particular place, harboring them over there until the time someone will come and say, I need this girl to come and sell before, and the person will pay to the agent before he pick this girl.
So you would say as a country, we are not winning. You would say emphatically that as a country we are losing the war on transhuman trafficking?
Come again, please.
I'm saying that based on what you're telling me, you would conclude that Ghana is not winning the fight against human trafficking.
As previously, I can say that we are not fighting because there is no policy that is protecting this our young girls when we talk about this transnational human trafficking. And I believe we need to do more.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Owusu-Yeboah. We need to do more. Indeed, this is News at 10. We're live on 3FM 92.7 as well as our affiliates across the country. I'm Stephen Enti.